On this week's episode, the strange goings-on with Doctor Strange 2. We travel to the Lost Mines of Phandelver, and we look back upon movie history. All this and more as we once again delve into the pop culture cosmos.
Welcome to the pop culture cosmos.
And we're back with another episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, the Lakers Fast Break, and Game Source. We truly appreciate you listening and watching all of our great programs. But it wouldn't be a Pop Culture Cosmos without my good friends. On this occasion, it is Josh who is sometimes cool for Pop Culture Cosmos. You got to check out what he's doing today at popculturecosmos.com. Got to listen to his great show, Topicocalypse, and of course, his hit book, Congratulations, You Suck. It is my good friend. It is Josh Peterson. What's up, man?
I am sometimes cool, all right? Not all the time, but sometimes cool.
Sometimes cool indeed. Also with us today on a great episode is my good friend as well. You got to check out all this great stuff at Go Brothers Gaming on Facebook when they're doing as far as video games between he and his brother and so much more. It is Octavio Gomez. And Octavio, thanks for jumping on with us today.
No, thanks for having me yet again. I just feel like I'm along for the ride pretty often.
No problem. That's great to have you here. You're part of the PCC team, my friend. It's just great to have you aboard. And the reason why, of course, you're going to be here is because later on in the program, not only going to tell us about some of the great things going on with video games that are helping you get through this quarantine period, but also as well, you and I, along with Robert Gibson and Roger Hamilton, will be traveling the Lost Mines of Phandelver, part of our first foray into the world of Dungeons & Dragons. So we're going to give you a little bit of clip of that coming up here later in the episode. Also as well, it's a year ago. Can you believe it? A year has gone by since Avengers Endgame stormed into theaters and broke all the records out there for box office history. So we're going to go ahead and play a little bit of our thoughts on the movie itself from one of our most popular shows ever, the Avengers Endgame spoilercast. So if you want to go ahead and check that out, it's available right now on the Pop Culture Cosmos channel in its entirety. And we'll go ahead and just share some thoughts on that later on in the program. But speaking of Marvel, a little bit of interesting news popped up is Doctor Strange 2, which was once slated for a May 2021 release, is getting pushed back again. It was pushed back in a reshuffling due to the coronavirus from Disney from May to November, and it bumped Thor Love and Thunder to February 2022. Now it looks like it's being bumped back even further to late March in 2022. And actually, Thor Love and Thunder is being moved up to the 11th of February in 2022. So this is something that is very strange indeed, why it keeps getting pushed back. So I want to hear your thoughts. First off, Josh, why is Doctor Strange 2 being pushed back even farther this time around?
Part of me wonders if it has anything to do with the Scarlet Witch show falling behind, because I know coronavirus put a hold on that one for a while, and I'm wondering if, because those two properties are tied so closely together, if there's something going on with the show, because that has not been given a solid release date yet since it was postponed. So I'm curious if it has something to do with that, or maybe it's something on Sam Raimi's schedule. I mean, they're not really pushing it back a lot. It's just, maybe 4 or 5 months, but it is weird to me that we haven't heard anything about the show that is allegedly supposed to lead into this new Doctor Strange film. So, yeah, I'm curious what's going on behind the scenes. I don't think Marvel has all their ducks in a row right now because everything's so unstable and unpredictable. As for the Spider-Man threequel, that is now taking that spot. I'm hoping that that's not going to down the quality of the film. I don't want to see something rushed out to theaters just to fill that original spot. But, everything's so unstable and unpredictable right now that I doubt that this will be the last release date shift that we see from Marvel, possibly for even these films.
I believe you're correct on that. I think it's not going to be the last time that we're going to see a reshuffling of the deck for these Marvel films. But you got to remember, now that makes, as of now, Doctor Strange 2 the last film on the tail end of Phase 4. So Phase 5 is supposed to be coming out right after that, which means if they hold true to their history, or at least their recent history, that means that there's going to be a release sometime in May. So you have Octavio here, a movie coming out in February, a movie coming out in March, and a movie coming out most likely starting in Phase 5 in May, as of right now, because you don't want to go ahead and pass up on May, because May is traditionally one of the largest volume points for the movie box office there is during the course of the year. So what does this say when you have possibly in 2022 a loaded lineup, February, March, May, and possibly even another movie down later in the year, most likely for Marvel? Could this be a point where in 2022 a lot of people are saying, I've had too much Marvel?
Well, honestly, I think it just depends on how much people are going to enjoy the upcoming titles. Marvel has hit it in such a way that I think people don't really get tired of them, because they've been doing it for such a long time, and they keep just hitting you with surprises, and they always pull something out of a bag in a tight spot, because I feel like they know what they're doing at some point. Especially with all these pushbacks, I feel like they're finding a way to work around it fairly well. I could just be giving them a really high benefit of the doubt, but I think they're going to handle it pretty elegantly, I guess.
Well, I'm not going to say I disagree with you on that. I'm just thinking that it's going to be Marvel after Marvel after Marvel. Josh, I want to ask you this. The general audience, I mean, the Marvel fans and the hardcores will go ahead and see it, but there's a possibility one of those movies could get shortchanged just because simply you have too much Marvel within a short period of time.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't think this is going to be the last time these release dates are shuffled around. But yeah, I can see having too much Marvel. I don't think that it's we're in any danger right now of that being a possibility, just because it's been so long since we've seen a new Marvel film in theaters. The coronavirus has kind of put a halt to a lot of things, but putting them too close together, I feel like there's a lot of potential for them stepping on their own feet in terms of their timeline. We had that big timeline debacle with, what was it, Homecoming, that had the scene with the Vulture in it when he's unloading the boxes or whatever in the beginning of the film. So there's a lot of potential for that to happen, and I think that before they even solidify anything, they need to make sure the timelines in the films are right, because that if there's one thing that Marvel fans have not been forgiving on, it's those timelines not making any sense. So that's something they need to make sure that their writing is solid and all their dates are solid before they even worry about when they're releasing these things, because by shuffling them around, you are creating the potential for that to happen.
And what Josh is referring to is when Sony released Spider-Man Homecoming and the Vulture was in the beginning of the movie with his crew taking things from the destruction from the first Avengers movie.
Yeah, it was then somebody called them out on that on Twitter, and then that created a whole thing. So they had to go back and re-look at everything and try to figure out how to match that all up again.
And that was a big headache for them because their timeline really didn't fit 100% after that. So, Octavio, I'm going to ask you this. With the Marvel Cinematic Universe basically right now in a state of flux, because I agree with Josh, I don't think this will be the last time we see a reshuffling of the Marvel movies. And especially with no Comic-Con this year, they don't really have to have any type of official, concrete announcement setting for it. So I want to ask you this. Is this going to be the last time you're going to see a Marvel reshuffling anytime soon, or are you going to go ahead and see more Marvel movies mixed around?
I think because of the way things have just been going already, they want to have it locked down, but I don't think that's a promise. I think there might be more to come later, just because the virus keeps creating a bit of like a sense of uncertainty. We keep pushing things around, and I think they're not certain either. Not just quite yet, especially because there's still a lot of production to go into these things, and there's still a lot of people who have to work on these things. And I don't know if they want to risk sickness of those that are working for them.
So I'll leave you with this, Josh. That leaves 2021 with Eternals and Shang-Chi. because Shang-Chi was moved back, the Eternals were moved back. So right now you have Eternals coming in February of 2021 and Shang-Chi in May of 2021. Nothing else behind it for the rest of the year. Do you think that these two unproven properties, these new IPs to the movies per se, not obviously to the comic books, but to the movie end of it per se, do you think these two new IPs for Marvel and the Marvel Cinematic Universe are good enough to satisfy Marvel fans for an entire year?
I mean, that's the hope. They took a huge risk with a film like Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, that was an IP that nobody had ever heard of. You know, the kids who grew up watching X-Men in the 90s got a brief, little taste of what the Guardians of the Galaxy were because the whole relationship between Star-Lord and Cyclops. But that was something that people didn't really know a lot about, and they were pleasantly surprised by how well it did. So I think that Marvel's kind of banking on that magic to happen twice with Shang-Chi and the Eternals. And, looking at the star power behind the Eternals, I think they're kind of leaning heavily on that as well. Is it enough to hold people over? I think it will be. I don't think that either of those films ends up tanking. I don't think people are going to be like, oh, gross, I'm done with Marvel. I don't think that that's a possibility. But yeah, I think they're really kind of hoping that it is going to be another Guardians of the Galaxy.
Part of their thing is sort of making these not household names. They put it with like a cool freshness for those who are familiar with those properties, and they like to add a lot of awesome twists for those who don't generally know these heroes. And I think Shang-Chi is going to really prove itself. I'm personally very excited for it. And the Eternals, like Josh was saying, has a lot of star power. And 2021, I think, is going to kind of wrap it up nicely with those two. For the future, I can't say. I think I'm actually more excited for the newer titles rather than the reoccurring ones, honestly. I don't know. I think it's just a matter of I have yet to see what they're going to do with these new heroes. I really am just genuinely curious to see what's going to happen with these new ones.
We'll see what happens with that and see if general audiences are also going to be as adapting to the Marvel Cinematic Universe in that fashion in 2021. Because, as I said before on a previous episode, they're taking a big gamble on what's going on for next year with these unproven properties for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And 2022, that's going to be something even more strange when Doctor Strange 2 heads over to March. And as of now, in the beginning of February, we now have moved up Thor, Love and Thunder, and who knows what's coming right after that, because that's the end of Phase 4. So Phase 5 is supposed to be coming up right after that, and they're going to come up with something in May, whether it's Doctor Strange 2 move back to May or something else. A lot of plans are changing right now at Marvel, so that's something to keep an eye on right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. What's your thoughts out there on Doctor Strange 2 being pushed back even farther? Are you disappointed? Are you still excited for the movie as it's scheduled to come out in March of 2022? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, coming up after the break, it's some of our thoughts from one of our most popular episodes. As a year ago, we were talking Avengers Endgame. We're going to go ahead and play a little clip from that coming up right after the break. And then after that, Octavio, myself, Roger Hamilton, and Robert Gibson, we took a trip to the Lost Mines of Phandelver. And you're going to hear a little bit of a clip from that as well later on in the program. And afterwards, on the back end of the show, Josh and I are going to talk to Octavio about his thoughts on his first trip into the world of Dungeons & Dragons, some video games to talk about before we head on out that will help you get through the pandemic, and then some thoughts on Star Wars: The Clone Wars as well. This is the Pop Culture Cosmos. For the latest news and information, analysis and opinions on the Los Angeles Lakers and the NBA, check out the Lakers Fast Break podcast today on wherever you get your podcasts. right, and we're live right here in Casa de Glassford. It is actually the Pop Culture Cosmos spoilercast. Welcome, everyone. Hopefully you get a chance to check out our thoughts on Avengers Endgame. We actually just watched it today. Those two over there have actually seen it twice, those lucky dogs. This is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos right here, but who else is here to share their thoughts on what's coming up? Spoilers galore when it comes to Avengers Endgame.
Josh is here also from Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanican Media, and I'm joined by these three idiots over here. Go ahead.
You're part of the three idiots.
Yeah, no, that's what I said. Okay.
My name is Chad, and I'm so happy to be here with everyone in lovely Nevada. And also, I am a musician, and my music is called Hyper Schmidt.
This is Justin. Going to talk about some Avengers, MCU, the future, stuff like that.
Tony from Game Source, part of the Pop Culture Cosmos.
Tony Stark.
Talking about some Endgame stuff.
Yeah, it's Jamie from Game Source, hanging out with Pop Culture Cosmos guys. Everybody's here. We're just hanging out. Gonna talk some Endgame. I don't know.
Can I interrupt you guys real quick? Will you share with them the fact that you shared with us right when we got out of the theater today about your time frame of sleeping and watching the Avengers? This is kind of interesting. I got a kick out of this.
We watched Endgame last night and went back this morning to watch it again. We've spent 6 hours watching Endgame and 6 hours sleeping, respectively, over the past 12 hours.
You beat me on the sleeping, that's for sure. Because I didn't finish the show until 3:30ish or whatnot.
Nice.
Yeah.
So was it worth it, in your opinion, to lose that sleep for the movie?
Oh, yeah.
Worth it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
100%.
I mean, come on, I went twice. It had to be worth it.
Twice in that period of time,
And got two
definitely
collector's
worth
sets.
it. Right. Right.
I'm going to have to think about where it lands on my list, but it's going to end up very high. So I strongly recommend it. It's very good. I know a lot of people will have issues with it because the first maybe 2/3 are not as action-packed as they're used to seeing from the Marvel Cinematic Universe because it tries to tell a deeper narrative. And to those who've invested their time in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, there is a big payoff with it as far as where it goes and how they get to that point. But for those that they're just jumping into it, they're going to like, okay, where's all the battles?
Yeah. Don't just jump into it.
Guys, what'd you think?
So we were discussing this on the way over here. I feel like the beginning of the movie was a lot of buildup. It was cool to go back and see those things happen again, like the Battle of New York and all that stuff. But it was just it felt like it took too long to get there to me. But then the second half of the movie was just nonstop, and it was good. The whole thing with the battle scene, the portals opening up, all the heroes coming out, like what they make up, what they lack in the beginning of the movie, they more than make up for in the rest of it.
Yeah, I would have liked to see like 20 minutes less of setup and 20 into 20 more minutes of
the actual battle.
Battle.
Yeah,
and I would have loved to see each of the characters highlight their abilities a little bit longer.
Or maybe even just 10.
Maybe 10. Even 10. I would have been happy with even 7.
I would have shaved off certain points in time just a little bit, I think. And I think you would have had the balance. Sorry, pardon the Thanos pun there. Just right, I think.
Also, every time someone's cell phone would go off, I would try to snap them out of existence. It would. Yeah.
Justin, what do you think, man?
I actually didn't mind the build up. It made you. It was building. You could tell what it was doing. It was building up for the feels, with all the reminiscing over the past 20 years of movie watching.
But what I want to say is that a casual fan or someone that is not invested, let's say you're going on a date, and you go there, and somebody who hasn't even watched,
there's like a million questions you have to ask.
That first third half, even almost bordering on the 60% mark, is just, since it's all narrative building and it's all exposition, I could see them just going like, this is slow. This is, I don't get this. But to Marvel fans, it's all a lot of fan service.
For casual fans, I can see in the beginning, like there's a lot of "woe is me" in the very beginning of the movie, and rightly so. But for a casual fan, they don't know what's been going on.
I was gonna say it felt like there was less character development in this and more development for the story. No single character was really developed much. It was more just getting them from point A to point B.
Yeah, you're working with 20 years of established characters. but you did. There was Barton. You saw what happened to him, his evolution. The Hulk's whatever his thing was.
That was because he didn't get his own standalone and won't, so they had to build it in where they could.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and it would have been better than just him explaining it at a diner. I think that would probably.
He said he trapped himself in a gamma room for 18 weeks.
I would have liked to have
that.
seen that instead of the diner talk. I think that would have probably sufficed a little bit better.
Yeah,
him maybe being so troubled by what was going on, coming to that point where, you know what, I'm just going to lock myself in a room. And, you know, you see the results of that as opposed to him, like I said, just going for selfies with kids at a diner and trying an awkward moment with Ant-Man created from it. So, you know,
right.
It's just going for laughs. And
I mean, it worked.
Do you feel like we kind of lost the Hulk as a character, though, and got Banner instead?
He's not the Hulk that we want, but he's the Hulk that we deserve. Asked for. But he's the Hulk we got. No?
I think, too, like I said, a lot of it balances back on the fact that he didn't get his own origin story, basically, the way it should have, the way they wanted. Yeah. But at the same time, is this the right mixture of Banner and Hulk that we wanted to see?
It's the balanced version.
We did get a little bit of it in, like, the Return to the Battle of New York stuff, but, like, you miss that, like, the comedy of it, just having, like, this big old frustrated Hulk running around.
I liked the Hulk from Thor Ragnarok, where he was still the Hulk, but he had lines as the Hulk.
Yes.
Yeah. When him and Thor having those arguments. Yeah. I mean,
like, to me, even then he came off as more the intelligent Hulk that we know from, like, you know, the storylines that we all know.
Yeah.
As opposed to this one. And that's what they were trying to do with this one, but it just didn't come off right.
Well, let's break it down as far as the first part when it comes to the opening part where you actually start off just real suddenly right after the trailers. It just hits you right there, right on the Barton farm.
Has it started?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would have liked a fade in personally. I thought that would have been better instead of just like a hard shot. And I would have liked a little bit more emotion from Clint. You know, once he realized it, or allowed him to have more emotion, more time. Just even another 30 seconds. To give him time to just really be devastated, and you see that devastation, so you could feel more for what he does after that.
I'm sure there is that. It's just edited out of the movie, and plus, that's not a kid friendly scene.
Do you think they should have let him see his family disintegrate instead of just making like he turned his back and all of a sudden they're all gone?
I thought it was a creative way to do it.
Well, because look at the scene with Spider-Man, right? In Infinity War. I don't feel so well, Mr. Stark. And he disintegrates.
They never show
that was
disintegrating in any of the movies.
No, but that was a powerful moment for me.
But dynamically speaking, to give someone that dessert of level of emotion at the beginning of the movie, I see why they wouldn't in the beginning.
I get what you're saying, but
you realize when he does that, the Russo's doing it to his own daughter. It's one of the Russo's daughters.
Oh, that's the girl?
Yeah.
But the change from, because in the comic books he turns into Ronin because Hydra kills his family, but in this his family disintegrates. He goes, I'm going to just go out and murder a bunch of people. So it seems like the change was so drastic that it would have been more believable to me if they showed him like seeing his family disintegrate.
So I'm thinking about it as we're talking about. I've tended to agree because now the more I talk about it, the more flaws, however slight they are, they seem to poke out a little bit more, which is hard for something that should be so detailed for a 3-hour movie. It has a lot of details that probably should have been put in there but got left out. I'm not saying it should have been a 4-hour movie, but like you said, shave it or you keep it the 3 hours.
Yeah.
Because it didn't, as far as the pacing, it didn't feel bad to me as far as a 3-hour. I didn't mind being in there 3 hours. Even in the beginning. Yeah. It's just that the way you allot the 3 hours to each of those scenes, I think could have been better structured and better paced. And with that would have probably come out of it, even with more casual fans. And again, I'm going back to casual fans, and I'm also going back to people just watching it for the first time. They're stepping the Marvel Universe and whatnot, because that makes the bulk of your money, not just the hardcores. The hardcores only give you so much of the money. It's when you connect with a larger audience that's when you really gain success. And those people, they will be able to connect more if they just done some little tweaks here and there to too many of those scenes. But go ahead. You're saying.
Could though, like you were saying, so they're going for the casual fan base, but couldn't that have been a backfire as well? Because your casual fan base coming in at this point in the juncture of everything, where do they go after that? But they see this amazing movie they don't know anything about before it.
It's not a good access point.
So they have nowhere to go after.
But you have to, just by the sheer numbers it's going to do, there are going to be some people seeing this for the first time, or people who have seen a limited number of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, because there will be no more movies successful than this one. So before this airs, it will already be over $1 billion. So yeah, it's just coming to the point where they also have to go ahead and make sure that they have that universe at least started. And I think they did a little bit of that as far as the characters that they actually kept alive, and that the ones that they actually killed off. Although there is some questions that Jamie and Tony and I were talking about in regards to that. But any parts in the beginning that you really and then also led into Tony Stark. It showed him as far as his future is concerned, and that comes into play, and that's because he has a daughter. Him and Pepper Potts has a daughter, which starts to really come into play as far as his thought process is concerned.
Yeah. As far as the beginning of the movie goes, I enjoyed it. I was a little thrown off when we went and saw it last night. Like it just straight jumping in. If
you're not paying attention, if you're like reaching for your popcorn, there's Jeremy Renner.
Yeah.
Is this like
I missed the flash of
Marvel
already?
Yeah.
Is this a trailer?
I mean, not counting the time jumps to grab the stones. Do you think that there's too many? Because there are 3 time jumps in the beginning of the movie that didn't have anything to do with the stones, right? You had the part with Clint. You had the part where they went and chopped off Thanos' head, and then they had the 5 years later thing. Do you think that's too many for a setup?
I like the 5 years later because you do need to see the repercussions of Thanos. Otherwise, it makes Avengers Infinity War meaningless.
Yeah.
You must have it.
They should have started there, though, and then had the other ones take place through flashback scenes. Don't just throw us into it. At least like with the Barton scene, say, hey, this happened so-and-so weeks or days ago. I really loved Marvel's commitment to like the beer belly Thor.
Captain Marvel is actually what I wanted to talk about, because you all saw Captain Marvel, correct?
Mm-hmm.
At the end scene where she comes back to the Avengers headquarters, it seems out of place because of the fact that you have to watch that scene to get an idea of why she's there and how she gets there. Because in the movie, there's no context for it. She's just
she never introduces herself. They don't ever this is Captain Marvel. She's just standing there in the room with them.
You watch that and
very presumptuous.
So, guys, any last thoughts? I know we're kind of burnt out after our full spoiler cast for talking about it ad nauseum, seemingly, but still was a great conversation. I enjoyed it, hearing your thoughts, spoiling it for everybody out there. But yeah, any last thoughts? Anything you want to plug on the way out? Josh, Humanicomania, he's burnt out. He's all marveled out for now. He's already going through that PTSD.
I'll plug my album.
Yeah, there you go. Go ahead.
I'm going to be releasing my self-titled album. It's going to be on Spotify. I don't know. I'm actually not all the way sure what it's going to be called right now, but that's okay. I'm pretty sure it'll just be Hyper Schmidt.
Buy this album, please. There you go.
Please, stream it, share it, add it to your playlists.
As Chad would say, Hyper Schmidt. That's Hyper and SCHMITT.
That's right. I like that right there. Nice.
All right, Justin, anything going on with Topicocalypse?
No, just like I said, just tune in. Topicocalypse at any all social media. We release episodes usually once a week. Just new content, getting better. Just tune in.
All right, sounds good. And last, guys, Game Source.
Same, just tune in, stay up with us. We're getting ready to do some things with Game Source Plus One. I know Gerald likes doing that.
Yes. I like these mysterious things that you're talking about. Yes. That's good.
Just keep an eye out, and we'll still keep trying to do this as much as we can.
Lots of things in the pipeline, but not sure if we're going to bring it out there yet.
Okay, fair enough. And Josh, it looks like he's completely done.
Yeah. I have stuff I'm working on, but my brain's fried to get today, guys. I'm sorry. I don't have a release date for it yet.
Make one up right now.
So I wrote a book. It's done. It'll be out soon. Just keep following my social media pages.
Scott, congratulations. You suck. But anyways, thank you guys so much for being a part of this. It is, again, Pop Culture Cosmos, Avengers Endgame Spoilercast. Appreciate you taking the time to listen to us. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.
Get ready for Kitty Origins Evolutions, the latest documentary from Rob McCallum. Thrusted into heavy metal stardom as teenagers with their debut release, Kitty has thrashed and conquered the heavy metal world for the past 20 years. Kitty has defied industry norms, fought back against women in rock stereotypes, and inspired generations since they appeared. And now, for the first time, they've decided to share their untold story. Generously peppered with archival footage shot by the band, this film gives you an honest and brutal look at what it takes to survive in the music industry. Order the DVD, Blu-ray, and live CD triple pack that features recordings from throughout their 20-year illustrious history from RobMcCallumFilms.com. RobMcCallumFilms.com, your place for awesome stories about awesome people and films worth watching.
And welcome to the first adventure in the realm of Dungeons and Dragons. We're here right now to go ahead and start, for a couple of us here, our first time in either period or first time in many years, like myself, ready to get into it right now for a fantastic adventure in the realm of Dungeons and Dragons. In fact, I think we're heading into the Lost Mines of Phandelver. So without further delay, I want to go ahead and introduce the cast that's here with us today. From Go Brothers Gaming, first off, my good friend and newbie to the world of Dungeons & Dragons, it is Octavio Gomez. Octavio, you all ready for this?
Way to throw me under the bus, but yeah. I'm very ready. I'm excited. I got my character here, itching for adventure.
Can you tell me a little bit more about your character?
Yeah, let me go ahead and give you a little something off the character sheet here. His name's Gomer Kane. He is a soldier. He's a cleric dwarf. And he's going to be helping you out on your quest through these mines, and we're going to be hopefully healing a bunch of people, doing our job, helping out, supporting.
I'm sure you're going to be healing me quite a bit because of my own stupidity, but that's beside the point. Robert Gibson is here as well. Robert, I cannot thank you enough for joining us on today's adventure. Just want to go ahead and tell us why you're excited about being part of today's game and a little bit about your character as well.
Yeah, I got back into Dungeons & Dragons about a couple years ago, but never did it online, so this was my first time online playing it. I'm playing the Lightfoot Halfling Rogue, actually, I'm spinning it off from the Ravnica book, so the background's from Arrakis Cultist, playing with fire, a little bit of chaotic. He's put a little twist to the game.
Well, that sounds great. I cannot thank you enough for being here. I'm just so happy that everybody could make it, but we got to have a Dungeon Master to go ahead and round us up all together and head us out into our adventure. And with us today is a great Dungeon Master indeed, setting this up last minute for us. We just truly cannot thank him enough for doing so. Roger Hamilton. Roger, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, no problem, Gerald. I'm glad to be here. Glad I could help out.
But we are excited for an adventure, and before we go into it, I want to go ahead and introduce my character. He is a human fighter and a folk hero, no less. His name is Shamat Khan. Let me give you a background. I had created this. I thought this was kind of something that I really went into, but here we go. Following in a long line of bounty hunters as part of the Shamash clan, Khan remains steadfast in his lifelong quest to seek out those who turned their back on law and order. His years of training has served him well, and after a largely successful run with his homeland as a peace officer, he now seeks out new challenges and quests to thwart evil at any cost. He does this to appease his belief in justice, but also to play to his sense of morality and guilt for the one mistake that he can never atone for. Ooh. I don't know what that mistake is. I didn't get that far down, but you know what? Hey, it leaves everyone in mystery there. So without further delay, Roger, DM, I hand it over to you. Let's go ahead and delve into the Lost Mines of Phandelver.
All right. So in the city of Neverwinter, a dwarf named Gundren Rockseeker asked you guys to bring a wagon load of provisions to the rough and tumble settlement of Phandelver. A couple of days travel southeast to the city. Gundren was clearly excited and more than a little secretive about his reasons for the trip, saying only that he and his brothers had found something big and that he'd pay you 10 gold pieces each were escorting his supplies safely to Barthen's Provisions, a trading post in Phandelver. He then set out ahead of you on horse, along with a warrior escort named Sildar Hallwinter, claiming he needed to arrive early to take care of business. You spent the last few days following the high road south from Neverwinter, and you just recently veered east along the Tribor Trail. You've encountered no trouble so far, but this territory can be dangerous. Bandits and outlaws have been known to lurk along the trail. All right, so we've got a wagon and horse. Who is going to be driving the wagon?
I think I would like to be at the head of this horse.
Okay.
There's a joke in there somewhere.
Yeah. All right, so you are driving. So who is on the lookout while you guys are driving along here on the trail?
I'll be on the lookout.
Okay, so pull up your character sheet and give me a perception check. So you're going to open up your character sheet and click on where it says perception. And that should roll the dice, and that'll be our first roll of the game. There we go. Now, the way these rolls are set up, it automatically rolls for advantage and disadvantage, so it automatically does 2 rolls. If we're not rolling with advantage or disadvantage, we just take the first number. Your roll for that would be a 16. Okay, so that's your perception. That's actually a good perception. And so as you guys are just going along the trail, there's nothing very interesting happening right now. Just going through the open fields. There's not much trees or anything happening. So we're getting off of the high road and moving on to the Tribor Trail. A little more unsavory. It's not really a road. It's a trail, so a little rougher going. You're starting to get into a little bit more trees and high brush, things like that. Go ahead and give me another perception roll. All right, 7.
I'll take my other second one.
Unfortunately, the dice say no. So as you're going along, you're not really noticing much.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. But there are things happening.
Hopefully they're not of the unsavory nature like the trail.
So much stuff on this side of the game.
Well, I feel like we're being set up for the slaughter here. We're just going la 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 la.
Kind of how it works, yeah.
That's reassuring.
So suddenly, to your right, you see a face pop out of behind a tree. It's a small humanoid creature, kind of greenish. And Groner, you just got shot.
I wonder what I did to him. Darn.
He did 5 points of damage. Piercing.
So much for being at the head of the horse, huh? Definitely injured. All right.
Yeah, so right now you are considered bloodied. We use the term bloodied when a character or a creature is at half health. So it's kind of a DM's way of saying, yeah, you're really getting this one down. So you have this little green guy who just popped out from behind a tree and shot you. What do you guys want to do?
I don't know about you guys, but I think I'm going to attack the little bugger.
All right. So we're going to go into combat now. So on your character sheet, click initiative.
I got 11-ish.
I got a decent little 7.
You got to have better initiative, man. What's up with that?
You know, I'm just a little shy, a little shorter in stature, but
because you're driving the horse, man. You're driving the horse.
This is also true.
Of course, watch me be the first one that gets killed.
I mean, I'm already halfway there.
Well, you know what, cleric, heal thyself.
Carl, you are up first. What are you going to do?
I'm 15 feet away.
Can use a ranged weapon.
Okay. I'm going to use my longbow then. I'm going to use my longbow.
So then you go ahead and click on the longbow, and it should give you a roll.
16 plus 2, 22 plus 2.
All right, so we're going to go with the first one because it's not an advantage or a disadvantage situation. And that does hit because his armor class is lower than 16. So you did 11 points of damage, and you have killed that guy.
Yes! Yes.
First kill of the game.
Killed that sucker.
I have been avenged. Well, I'm not quite dead yet, but, the opportunity presents itself.
Octavio.
I'm very bloody.
But now his buddies are coming out.
Oh, no.
There's always bigger fish.
Is there a run feature in this game?
You have a max speed for your character.
I'll love Pokemon.
I may be using that max speed.
Actually, you can do a run. What you can do is a dash action. So if your turn you decide that you want to run as far as you possibly can, whatever your speed is, like if your speed is 30, instead of actually doing something on your turn, you can run your full speed and use your action to run your full speed again. That's called a dash. But then you don't get to attack or anything.
So what do you say, guys? What are we going to do? We got coming out on opposite sides of us.
Okay. Is this possible? I can sneak up behind Shamit there and use my short bow, move behind the human fighter, use my short bow, make it look like he shot the shot, take my bonus action, hide behind him.
Certainly try.
Part of my feature is that in rogues that they can not only move through larger creatures' space, but they can hide while obscured by larger creatures as well.
Right.
So the first question would be to me, how was your game? Oh, I played a human shield.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, exactly.
I knew I should have changed classes. Meat shield.
Give me a stealth roll. I check on this guy's perception. Okay, yeah, he didn't notice you back there, so you go ahead and attack. That definitely hits. All right, so that's a 11. And you were shooting at the guy at the bottom there, right?
I'm shooting at the guy at the bottom, yeah.
Sneaky.
You got another dead goblin.
All right. Goblins down. 2 down, 1 to go. Nice work, Robert. Oh, now you're hiding behind the dwarf.
Hey, you're smart.
And you're a halfling, so you can do that. Well, I mean, a halfling will be able to hide behind a dwarf because you're smaller.
Yeah, I'm smaller than a dwarf, yeah.
So, Octavio, you're up.
I'm up.
Do us proud, man. Do us proud. We got 1 each. You got 1 on the kill slot each. Got to go for another one.
Okay, so first I think I'm going to cure my wounds real quick, just in case. +5 to get my max.
So you're at 10 hit points?
I'm at 10 hit points, and therefore I am more fit to be a human shield. So, I'm going to keep on hiding my halfling buddy, and I'm just going to stand right here.
All right.
Hey, I've got a whopping 12 hit points, so I'm not far ahead of you.
Well, that's a good thing, because the goblin is going to attack you.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, go hide behind the dwarf.
I'll have to get down on the ground, get down on the dirt there to hide behind you guys.
You have to roll for stealth.
Just a single file line of, we could do like a synchronized swimming kind of thing.
So where am I rolling?
What are you trying to do?
Well, since my friends and cohorts are hiding behind each other, we're trying to do a good job of that. I guess I'm going to go ahead. I'm covering 25 feet, if you can see there. I don't know if I can cover that distance, or should I use...
You have 30 feet of movement.
Okay. I think I'm going to go ahead and get right on him.
Okay.
Folk hero in action.
And I'm guessing you're going to attack with your greatsword?
Yes.
So go ahead and click on the greatsword and see what you get there.
14 plus 2.
So we go with the first number because you don't have advantage. And his armor class beats your attack, so you missed. So you swing your sword, and it comes down and just sort of grazes off of his shoulder. You might have scratched him a little bit, but it's not even enough to do anything.
Thanks, guys.
No, man, it was a great sword.
No, it's not so great now. I should have done ranged.
So, Robert, you are up next. How are we going to kill this thing?
Through the power of friendship.
Don't look slow. That's going to work with a goblin.
He's a 10, I think.
Yeah, that's not going to hit his armor class. So now we've got two of you standing right next to him.
Both looking at each other going like, uh-oh.
Well, Robert, you can engage as a bonus action so that he doesn't get an attack of opportunity, and you can move away. You still have, I think, 5 or 10 feet of movement.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We'll do the engage bonus action.
All right, so Octavio, it comes back to you.
It's all up to you, man.
Okay, so
Don't fail us.
I have guiding bolts. Is that something I can use like right now?
That is.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and click on that guy.
Unfortunately, you're guiding.
Wow. We're stuck in here.
We're
going down.
You see these other guys coming up, and they're getting into melee with them, and nobody seems to be able to hit this one goblin. And you're getting a little nervous, and you prepare your spell, and your hands are doing what they're supposed to do with the spell. And just as soon as you're about to cast it, your hands shake a little bit, and this little bolt of white light just goes zipping by the goblin's ear.
Just a warning shot to not mess with us.
So now we're back to the goblin.
He should feel confident.
He's feeling pretty cocky now. He's gonna attack Shamat again.
So all three of us whiffed. All right, great.
At least I whiffed from a distance.
And he missed.
Yay!
Didn't hit anything. So he is going to try to move away, which means, Shamat, you are going to get an attack of opportunity. So you get to do one melee attack against him.
I will take that melee.
Oh yeah, you get opportunity to attack.
Mm-hmm.
Just using my great sword again, which wasn't so great last time around. Okay, here we go. Wish us luck, gang.
Oh
yeah.
There you go.
That is a hit. Let's go ahead and roll some damage.
Here we go. Fingers crossed, guys.
All right.
The 9 flashing.
He's hurt, I would assume, but not killed.
Actually, you killed another goblin.
Oh, yeah!
There we go. I was about to get ready to say, oh no, we suck again. Yeah.
Okay, so you just vanquished 3 goblins. Nothing else is coming out right at the moment that you see. What do you guys want to do?
Well, let's take a look around. I want to investigate the goblins and the area as well.
Okay.
I'll look for tracks. I'll see where they came from. We'll see like which direction they came from, stuff like that.
Well, I'll tell you what, sounds good. Part 1 of our trip. It's just been a great adventure so far. Robert, Roger, I cannot thank you enough. Octavio, truly appreciate your time here as well. Thank each and every one of you guys for being a part of this. You know, it's just been an incredible time so far, and we will get together to do part 2 very soon as we head back into the world of Dungeons & Dragons and the Lost Mines of Phandelver, right here of the Pop Culture Cosmos.
If you're tired of sifting through flea markets for rare and unique games, we can help. Retro City Games in Henderson, Nevada, only 5 minutes from the Las Vegas Strip, has all your favorite gaming staples, classics, and a wide selection of rare games with new stuff always appearing on our shelves. Come in and chat with Nicole or Doug about your love of games and watch as they help you complete your collection or find your childhood favorite. And don't forget, Retro City Games loves trade-ins. So if you have any Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega, Xbox, PlayStation, or even PC games, come in and visit Retro City Games today. Welcome to the new metropolis of gaming, Retro City Games.
And we're back to close out the show. This is the Pop Culture Cosmos. Want to thank so much Octavio Gomez for being on the show today. Also as well, Robert Gibson and Roger Hamilton for their part in our trip for what was for me a long time and for what was Octavio his first time into the world of Dungeons and Dragons in the Lost Mines of Phandelver. Stay tuned, because this week on the Game Source channel, we're going to go ahead and hopefully, if everything works out, go back into the Lost Mines of Phandelver, because there's a lot of stuff we need to do in part 2. So I'm looking forward to that. So Octavio, you had your first round of Dungeons and Dragons. What were your thoughts?
I really enjoyed just the interactiveness of just the whole world. There was a part at some point where one of our teammates was just performing in a tavern, and we were visiting a shrine at the same time, and he was having his own thing going on. And then just the possibility of anything happening, even if it's not a consequence of your choice. To begin with, the action started when I got shot just riding a buggy with you guys. And that was just fun to see how that plays out after a while.
So give me the rundown. What was the process like creating your character?
Well, we had originally to create our own characters from scratch. Somewhere along the way, we just kind of went with a couple presets that were well rounded out for our campaign. So I had actually a lot of work done for me. But at the same time, I still do want to go back and maybe try building my own character. I picked a dwarf cleric. I was originally going to be something else, but I figured we needed a healer somewhere along the way. And it only worked out for me because I don't think any of us really got hurt all too bad. So I had to heal myself, but it came, in handy. But the backstory was already made, and they already have personality traits, backgrounds, statistics. It's all just really, really in-depth and fun.
And that's the one thing we learned, that not only, like Octavio says, that he and I were experimenting with creating our own characters or being part of a world that is going to be created for us. There was also what we actually got into. There's already so much out there that's already pre-made. So on the fly, the person who stepped in as the DM had a preset adventure already, had preset characters that he could go ahead and give us, just so that in case that something happened, which it did, we were able to go ahead and still play a game that was for hours and hours of enjoyment that lasted for us, that we're still eager to get back into. So that's the great thing about Dungeons and Dragons. Whether you create it from scratch or you need something really set on the fly that you can do in a hurry, you have that option for both. I know, Octavio, you wanted to go ahead and talk to us about some games that people can go ahead and play through at this point in time. So I want to hear your thoughts. And Josh, too, on games that you guys are playing that you highly recommend to get through this pandemic.
For nostalgic purposes, at the top of my list here, my top 10 for quarantines, I put Mario 64. I got an emulator on my computer, and I just went to town on Mario 64. I was playing nonstop for such a long time, and I didn't even mean to, but it just happened. Such a great game still. It still holds up. I think it's still a lot of fun, and revisiting all those worlds and doing all those interesting little quests, sliding off of slides and getting frustrated. It's all just really, really good fun. And under that, I had Jet Set Radio Future. Back in the day, for me and my brother, we just had we went crazy over this game. The graphics are a little interesting. They're almost comic-y. Sometimes it's just overall a lot of fun. It's just a bunch of kids skating, having fun with a fantastic, fantastic soundtrack. Another thing that's been getting me through this quarantine with my cousins and my family just all together, Rocket League. We have a lot of fun playing that. So it's a fun, safe way to kind of do what we usually do with social distancing.
Oh, there you go. That's a great list so far. Josh, do you have any choices?
Right now, I am playing the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and this is the first, I love this game. It is so good. It's so well put together, and it's very, very cinematic, which is appropriate because, when the first Final Fantasy VII came out, that was one, I think 6 might have done this too, but this was the first time they really experimented with those, beautiful CGI cutscenes, and so it feels very appropriate that they would make a game that feels this cinematic be a Final Fantasy remake. So I've been playing that, and this is a game that I'm on chapter 6 right now, and I don't know how much is left of the game, but I am really enjoying my time with it. I'm also playing God of War, the fourth one, and that one's been fun to go back to. I forgot that there was a game plus mode on there, so I've been kind of going through leveling up more of my equipment, playing the story again. Like it's a beautiful game all around. Other than that, I would like to have some time to jump into Link's Awakening. I know Zelda games take a long time to play, so this feels like the right time to do it. But those are kind of what's keeping me going through these quarantine times. What about you, Gerald? What are you playing?
Right now, I'm just going back into Mass Effect. I think Mass Effect for me has always been something that's near and dear to my heart. So I'm taking it one step at a time and getting back into the world of Mass Effect. That's an experience in and of itself. Between that, Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 3 for the most part, until the cheesy do-it-yourself ending. That's not so much do-it-yourself. I think other than that, the trilogy there is a Mass Effect is just truly something outstanding. And I think it's something everybody, if you haven't gotten into the Mass Effect trilogy, but you like those space operas, there's nothing better than Mass Effect to go ahead and get you through until you get to Mass Effect Andromeda. But we won't go there. But before we head on out, I wanted to go ahead and talk a little bit about Star Wars: The Clone Wars. That's right now on Disney Plus. People are really getting enthused by it because they're also the fact that it came back for a final season, obviously to help promote the Disney Plus brand, but the fact that it's actually a great season that's wrapping up this entire series. So, Octavio, I want to hear your thoughts. Their latest episode is really garnering acclaim and is being considered right now as one of the best episodes in the series all time. Your thoughts on how Star Wars: The Clone Wars is wrapping up its series?
Well, as a longtime viewer, because I was just a little one watching from the beginning, and I loved it all the way through. It's just amazing to see them come back with such a good season. Some of the best action sequences that they've had in the entire show, definitely. And just really, it's funny because you can't even realize how good the animation has improved until you compare it to the old ones, like side by side almost. But it has improved so much, and it's such a beautiful, beautiful work that they've put into the new season. And the way it's wrapping up it's chilling. It's so good. And what they're doing to the backstory and kind of intertwining it with the movies at this point, it's just all very well done on their part.
Josh, any thoughts on Star Wars: The Clone Wars before we head on out?
It's a show that I've always wanted to invest in, and I did watch the original movie, but I just have not had time to sit down and watch the rest of it. And everyone keeps telling me I need to, and I feel dumb for not doing it, but I will. One day I will watch all of the Clone Wars, all of the clones.
Well, hopefully you will, because from all reports and from a lot of critics out there that the series is wrapping up in probably its best form yet, which is rare for a television series to wrap up with its best episodes leading into the finale. And that's something you don't see very much of out there when it comes to series. People are usually let down, disappointed, what have you. But it looks like Star Wars: The Clone Wars, for now, is wrapping up in the best way possible. What are your thoughts out there on Star Wars: The Clone Wars? Are you catching the episodes on Disney Plus? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. All right, guys. Octavio Gomez, just great having you aboard. Josh Peterson, once again, my friend, as always, great to have you aboard as well. Any last thoughts, guys, before we head on out?
Shout out Ray Park for doing the animations for Darth Maul still.
Also, if you are a gamer, I was unaware of this until recently, but most games, except for the ones that come straight from the publishers, are $10 cheaper at Walmart. So if you're in the market, that would be a good place to go. Save a little money.
Save a little money indeed. And don't forget, if you can, please support all of our shows. 5-star rating wherever you can on Apple Podcasts or wherever you go ahead and make reviews. Like, subscribe, whatever you can do to help us out. We truly appreciate it from all of our shows right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. So for Octavio Gomez and Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's a beautiful day in paradise right here in the Pop Culture Cosmos. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.